Hi, welcome back to my revival. So, did I or did I not get bypass surgery? Once I decided the fat had to go, every doctor I talked to said they'd never seen anyone at my weight lose that amount of weight without gastric bypass surgery. I found this disconcerting because I'd never really wanted it for myself. It just seemed like if I could find the right thing, the right program, or whatever it is that would work for me, I just thought I could do it without gastric bypass surgery. 7 months after my pulmonary embolism, I wrote myself a note. I was going to show you, but I don't have it out here. On my old phone, I think it was like an iPhone 4, I wrote a note that said, I just wanted it written down somewhere. Should I manage to lose my weight? I just wanted it written down that doctors told me I couldn't do it. So that if I did do it, I'd have sort of this, notation that I thought the whole time I could do it. Well, I kept dieting and I kept failing to lose. This went on for years. And my weight kept climbing. I was getting really depressed because I was beginning to think maybe all those doctors were right. Maybe I couldn't lose it without gastric bypass surgery. On my worst day, I remember weighing my head down in my arms and just crying, laying my arms across, my kitchen counter and I just cried in frustration. I was in the middle of trying everything and it wasn't working and I was getting concerned. And it finally came down to one. I was still determined several years later after my pulmonary embolism that the fat had to go. And two, I couldn't avoid surgery because of stubbornness. I couldn't let stubbornness prevent me from losing the weight. So I told my doctor to go ahead and refer me to a gastric bypass surgeon. I wasn't excited, but I was willing, so I went to see him. I'd just taken for granted I would be accepted for bypass surgery. I don't know why. I guess I didn't know enough about it. I hadn't thought maybe I wouldn't be. I was rejected as a candidate for gastric bypass surgery because I'd had a massive pulmonary embolism and I was allergic to heparin, the two things I learned in the hospital during my life-altering event. Ever hear that phrase, God said no? I got a big fat no to gastric bypass surgery. But I left that surgeon more depressed than ever. I may never have wanted the surgery, but I'd counted on it as my last resort. I had no idea what I would do next. I had been overeating like crazy, thinking that I was going to get the surgery. Now I had no plan, and I was the heaviest I had ever been by far. So I was at my lowest ebb. How was I going to lose hundreds of pounds on my own when I had failed to lose it all, much less keep it off every time I'd tried before? Well, that surgeon referred me to a 1,200 calorie a day medical weight loss program, and the doctor who ran that, when he found out during my interview that I was basically not mobile, he stopped the interview and said, I'm going to refer you on to a program I think is better than mine for you. You can always come back here if the one I'm referring to doesn't work, but I'm going to refer you on to a place I think would be even better for you. And he referred me to a very low calorie, 800 to 900 calorie a day medically supervised weight loss clinic. Sometimes it's called a supplemented fast. The moment I was rolled into the reception area of the new clinic, I was rolled in because I couldn't walk in because of my weight. I was using a rollator to walk with, and it had a seat. And I would sit on the seat, and my husband would push me to doctor's appointments. My husband pushed me into my medical clinic that day. I didn't walk in. But from the minute I got into the reception area, I just felt right. And for the first time I felt hope. I thought, maybe. Keep in mind, I was aware upon arriving that my options were seriously limited. I'd never lost near what I needed to on my own, and I'd been refused bypass surgery. I went into this clinic aware I was running out of options. I also knew how bad I was feeling. I knew I wasn't really sleeping more than an hour a night. I was having serious problems because of that. I knew my blood work showed everything at dangerous levels: triglycerides, sugar, cholesterol, my blood pressure. I was on blood pressure medication and a beta blocker for congestive heart failure. Not laughing. Everything was beginning to break down. If I'm honest, I didn't think I was going to live much longer. The truth. I didn't think I had a lot of time left. I was in a really bad way. And I knew it. So as I sat in the new patient interview, I remember thinking, I remember this so clearly. If this doctor says I'm accepted into this program, I will hang on as if I were clinging to the edge of a cliff with my bare fingers, and my life depended on me not letting go or I'd fall to my death. If they said do this or eat that, I would. I would just jump in and swim my heart out. There was none of this toe in the water business. I didn't feel I had time to lose messing around. My life did depend on it. And I'd done the math. On this program, they said I could lose an average of about 4 pounds or so a week. At that rate, if I guessed on the long side, I would be on it for about 2 to 2.5 years. And maybe that sounds like a long time to you, but it might not sound so long if you consider losing about 400 pounds. A pound or two a week at a time on another program would take me about 15 years. That would have put me at 65 years old. Plus, I'd never succeeded more than a few months on one of those diets before. I knew I couldn't do this on my own. I knew it. It wasn't going to happen. So 2.5 years sounded like a miracle to me. And I'm extremely happy to inform you I was accepted. And it looks like I might finish in more like 1 3/4 years instead of the original guess of more than 2.